Hello, and thanks for joining me for this week's update. As many of you know, last week I was in Taipei, Taiwan, where I led an economic development mission to explore opportunities with businesses and universities in Taiwan. The trip was incredibly productive, and next week I'll provide an update on the trip after everyone who attended has recuperated from our long journey and a 12-hour time difference. Since I was out of town last week and didn't have a chance to provide a weekly video, I want to thank former State Treasurer Nancy Kopp, former First Lady Catherine Leggett, and former State Delegate Ana Sol Gutierrez for chatting with Jody Finkelstein, the Executive Director of the Montgomery County Commission for Women, about their lives, their legacy, and advice they give to the next generation of leaders in this county. We're grateful that these three historical individuals shared their time and wisdom with us. It was a wonderful way for us to conclude Women's History Month, and I encourage you to watch these conversations. It's been approximately 3 weeks since I presented my FY24 recommended operating budget. Recently, there have been some opposition to my proposal. I've seen some petitions urging the Council to reject the budget as introduced and reject the proposed property tax increase. To be clear, without this funding, the Council will have to find over $200 million in cuts that would significantly impact our schools and other vital services. If we only had to maintain the maintenance of effort requirement, we wouldn't be talking about a property tax increase. This year, however, MCPS has made an unprecedented request for a significant increase in investment. Their requested increase is 3 times larger than we've ever funded previously. And as I've said repeatedly, I would not have supported fully funding MCPS's request for nearly $300 million were it not going to the salaries needed to be competitive. This is the most expensive county to live in, and it harms our ability to recruit and retain staff when staff can find better paying positions in nearby counties with a lower cost of living. Funding schools is at a lower per pupil rate now than we were at 12 years ago. Yet needs in our schools have only increased, and the impact from COVID-19 has only added to the burden. COVID ended, but its consequences on the well-being of our children have endured, and it can't be ignored. We've lost teaching staff, support staff, and we find ourselves behind and uncompetitive with our neighboring jurisdictions. That's not the situation Montgomery County used to be in, but it's the reality of the position that we're in now. Last year, 1,100 teachers left MCPS and hundreds of positions remain unfilled. Teachers are leaving the classroom for better pay, less demanding, and more respected work. The impact is larger classes and fewer people to meet the needs of students. The teachers in school are burning out as they work to cover vacant positions and the increased needs. The risk of teacher burnout rises with each unfilled job. This is a choice to pay our teachers and education employees what they deserve to be paid. This is a choice to invest in our education system to ensure long-term attractiveness of Montgomery County. This is a choice to invest in long-term workforce development and economic development. We shouldn't forget that the school system is one of the keys we have in terms of economic development in this county. It's one of the major things that makes us attractive. Slipping in this category will hurt the county's property values far more and far longer than a 10-cent property increase. Tax increases are never comfortable, and I'm not wedded to the 10-cent increase. But what I am wedded to is that we need to invest in our future needs and our priorities. I believe the Council is working in good faith on funding these critical needs. To those who choose to throw bombs from the sidelines, I challenge them to show the residents of Montgomery County what cuts they're proposing to critical services such as teacher salaries, healthcare, public safety, or other needs to resolve this budget. There is no easy solution. We can't just find $220 million unless we're willing to do great harm to Montgomery County services. People have raised the issue of accountability in the school system, and it's a concern that is widely shared. I know from talking to other county executives throughout the state, both Republicans and Democrat, that there's a desire to provide more oversight and engagement to county governments who are responsible for actually funding our schools, but play too little a role in helping develop a school budget. Next year, we hope to propose changes to state law that will improve this situation. I continue to urge all residents to support the budget as introduced. This helps the county hire and retain talented staff, educate our children, and fund the critical needs of the county. Yesterday I informed the community that Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Services Chief Scott Goldstein will leave us this summer. His last official day will be June 30th, 2023. Chief Goldstein first started serving Montgomery County in 1987 as a volunteer with the Kensington Volunteer Fire Department. 3 years later, he was hired at MCFRS, and 8 years ago, he became our fire chief. I want to thank him for his service to our county and his dedication to the men and women of MCFRS. Over the last 18 months alone, the chief has had to deal with deadly fires and floods, building explosions, as well as even a plane entangled in a utility transmission line. His leadership and decision-making skills during these major incidents, as well as the overall management of MCFRS, has improved public safety under his tenure. His absence will leave big boots to fill, but I wish him all the best moving forward with his new chief's position in Kelso, Washington. Throughout April, we'll begin highlighting programs like food scraps recycling to help the public be more environmentally friendly for Earth Month. Montgomery County's Department of Environmental Protection estimates that every year 124,000 tons of food scraps are thrown away. That includes vegetable and fruit peelings, stale baked goods, and food left on plates after meals. Companies that have established food recycling programs report that employees and customers are happier knowing that the business they support cares about the environment. It impacts pride in the workplace and helps business owners save money on trash costs. Home food scraps recycling is typically done with a static compost bin or a dual-chambered tumbler, both of which are rodent-proof. There also is a growing industry of dedicated food scraps recycling collectors. If you'd like to learn more about food scraps recycling, visit the county's website, montgomerycountymd.gov/SWS/food waste. Please keep an eye on my weekly newsletter and our county social media pages this month for more information on ways to help the environment in the lead up to Earth Day. Finally, our COVID-19 update. The pattern of COVID-19 infections impacting Montgomery County has been pretty easy to spot for a while now. We look for a new breakout variant and watch the case counts and hospitalizations go up until the wave breaks. Right now, cases have receded so much that it seems like even the threat of an outbreak is a long way off. Of course, we thought the same thing last summer. Then we saw cases rise right after Memorial Day. So we're still tracking the virus not only in Montgomery County, but globally, because the pattern has been that the virus springs up, usually across the Atlantic Ocean, winds up in Europe, and then comes to the United States. Bivalent boosters have been available since September and should be taken by everyone to stay up to date on vaccine protection. Soon, federal funding for COVID-related expenses like vaccines and testing will expire. Many of these protections will come out of the family budgets. The county's budget is going to continue to provide some money for retaining some of these services, but it won't be at the same level of support that we had during the height of COVID. 2 months ago, the state recorded a 7-day average of more than 9,400 COVID tests being taken daily. Now that number is down to just 3,100 COVID tests being recorded every day. That's a good sign that the transmission of the disease is far lower than it was in February. But it's also a reminder that we shouldn't let our guard down even as fewer of our friends, neighbors, and family members get sick. There are many celebrations this week, and before I go, let me acknowledge the start of Passover on Wednesday night. It's also Holy Week for Christians as well as Easter on Sunday. And Tuesday, we recognized Ramadan with a proclamation and our annual dinner celebration here at the County Executive Building. I wish all those observing these holidays joyous and peaceful gatherings. This week is also National Public Health Week. After the last 3 years, where the pandemic has been at the forefront of our minds, I think we've all gained a new appreciation for the importance of public health and the professionals that keep us healthy and safe. They put their lives on the line and did everything they could to keep people safe before we realized the importance of PPE, personal protective equipment. Doctors and nurses were willing to put themselves at great risk to keep our community safe. I want to take this opportunity to thank the more than 650 public health workers across Montgomery County who have and continue to work tirelessly to serve our health and wellness. Beyond COVID-19, they focus on a range of community issues, such as mental health, access to health care, food and nutrition issues, and reproduction and sexual health. Public health workers play a significant role in this county, and they do it because they care deeply about the people they serve. I encourage everyone to acknowledge the work done by our public health workers to help improve our overall quality of life in Montgomery County. They really are unsung heroes. Every chance I get to remind people of what they did for us throughout the pandemic, I do that. That's a wrap for today. I hope you have a great week, and I'll be back again next week.